They stole my helmet, took my helmet. They tried to get my gas mask. It was all these surreal things, like, this cannot be happening. This cannot be happening. This cannot be happening. But it was. You know, I have moments. It comes back in like flashes, and it's hard to not have it with you every day. For those of us that work at the Capitol still, we're still working at our crime scene.
NBC News Capitol Hill producer, our colleague Frank Thorpe, with that moving piece today. He shot all those black and white images himself, too. Lawmakers, their staff, reporters, Capitol police officers, food service workers. January 6th was a trauma for everyone inside the Capitol that day. A lifetime may not be long enough to process it, let alone 100 days. One member of Congress in particular has been outspoken about that in the weeks that have followed. Michigan Democratic Congressman Dan Kildee has represented this great city of Flint in Congress since 2013. He's spoken out about his experience grappling with the aftermath of the Capitol attack. He's experienced PTSD in the days that have followed. Congressman Kildee joins us here this evening. Congressman, thank you for being with us. This is a tough topic because you all had to get to work immediately. You were actually at work. You had to continue your work that day. But you now know that everything that those people told Frank Thorpe that they were fearful about, they had every reason to be fearful about. There were people who were intent on taking you hostage or worse. How have you processed that in the last three months?
Well, it's been hard. I mean, this is something like what the speaker said. I'll take this with me the rest of my life. It's been hard to process it. And for me, I had some pretty serious reaction to it. I had PTSD. I'm still dealing with that. I feel like my old self again, but it took a while. It's hard to process it in some ways, Allie, because we keep going back to that same building. I was on the floor of the House today, looking at the spot in the gallery where I took cover. I still have to work with and speak to these members who contributed to this big lie, benefited from this big lie, and now want to say, well, let's let bygones be bygones. It's not that simple.
I think that's a really important piece. I want to play another section of. There's, by the way, a picture of you, but I want to play a picture. I want to play another piece from Frank Thorpe's package about Senator Mitt Romney and how he felt about this, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
My operations guy texted me that the protesters had entered the Capitol.
Protesters are in the building.
And so I left the Senate chamber, where I encountered Officer Goodman, who suggested I return to the chamber because that would be the safest place. Not terribly long after that, a official came into the chamber and said, "You need to evacuate." And that's when I was most frustrated and angry. Angry at those who had gone along with the big lie and told the American people that the election had been stolen. I pointed to a couple of people who had participated in that ruse and said, you have caused this.
Congressman, he said you have caused this to people. Unlike this trauma that other people have experienced, the weird thing about your trauma is you and Senator Romney and everybody else go back into this place with people who had a choice not to do this and in many cases saw some of this coming and encouraged it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the point, Allie, and you just said it. They made a choice. They made a choice in the months leading up to that attack. They fanned the flames. And then, inexplicably, 2/3 of the Republicans in the House of Representatives made a choice after the attack was over, after I had to be rescued by a tactical unit of the Capitol Police to save my life. I had to watch Republican members come to the floor of the House and vote to confirm the lie that was the predicate for that attack. Senator Romney said it. We still have anger. My anger has waned somewhat, but what hasn't waned, what hasn't diminished, is that I look at those members of Congress as smaller people now, as lesser. I can't trust them because I now know in a moment of real pressure, when they have to choose between their country and their own hide, I know how they're going to choose. And it's very difficult to work with somebody when you know that about them. When the pressure is on, they did not choose their oath of office. They did not choose our history of democracy. They chose the narrow, small path. That's hard to forget.
Congressman, thank you for taking this time. And I know you speak for a lot of other members of Congress who are going through this, for whom it has hit them at home, but they had no choice but to keep on working. And that is a hard environment to continue to work in when you know who caused this and why it happened. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Dan Kildee is a Democrat from Michigan.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.